81 days. That is how long Savannah Guthrie stayed silent publicly. 81 days of private agony, private tears, private fear. And then on March 25, 2026, she sat down in front of a camera on NBC's Today Show and tried to speak. She couldn't finish her first sentence. But through the tears, through the breaking voice, one line landed differently. It wasn't addressed to the public. It wasn't a plea for sympathy. It was directed. Targeted. Intentional. Asterisk, someone needs to do the right thing. Asterisk, that line is still hanging in the air. Because investigators believe that someone is still out there. Still connected to this case. Still tied to evidence that refuses to disappear. And today we are not here to speculate. We are here to follow the evidence. All of it. Including the one detail that has never been fully explained. A car. Taken apart panel by panel. And results that have never been made public. Stay with us. Because this is where the story gets complicated. Before we get to the car, you need to understand who Nancy Ellen Guthrie was. She was not a headline. She was a person. 84 years old. Born January 27, 1942 in Fort Wright, Kentucky. She had spent more than 5 decades building a life in Tucson, Arizona. 17 years working at the University of Arizona. A home in Catalina Foothills, one of Tucson's quieter, more affluent neighborhoods. 3 children. A routine. A life that felt safe. But here is what made her vulnerable. Officials described her as mentally sharp and fully aware. However, physically she was limited. She relied on a pacemaker. Daily heart medication was not optional. Walking away from her home on her own was simply not realistic. Sheriff Chris Nanos confirmed this himself after speaking directly with Savannah and her security team. There were no known threats. No prior warnings. No reason for anyone to expect what was coming. Which means one thing. Whoever did this chose her deliberately. And they prepared. Long before the night everyone focused on. January 1st. The night Nancy vanished. But investigators quietly shifted their focus weeks earlier. And that shift changes everything. January 11, 2026, 20 days before Nancy disappeared, a masked man approached her front door. He did not knock. He did not attempt to force entry. Instead, he interfered with the doorbell camera and then walked away quietly. No alarm was triggered. No police report was filed. Life continued as normal for 3 more weeks. But the FBI did not treat this as normal. Through digital forensic analysis, they confirmed this was not random. It was a reconnaissance visit. The same individual. The same method. The same target. Whoever stood at that door on January 11th was not testing luck. They were studying the environment. Learning the camera system. Mapping the layout. Preparing. January 24, 2026, a second date quietly flagged by investigators. Another moment of unusual activity near the Guthrie residence. The specific details have not been disclosed. But the pattern was undeniable. By week 7 and 8 of the investigation, FBI agents were going door to door through the neighborhood asking for surveillance footage specifically from January 11 and January 24. Not from the night of the abduction. From the weeks before it. That is not routine. The front door closed at 9:50 p.m. And then 4 hours of silence. No confirmed events. No verified movement. Nothing released to the public about what may have happened inside that house between 9:50 p.m. and 1:47 a.m. That 4-hour window remains one of the most significant unresolved gaps in the entire investigation. And then the silence broke. 1:47 a.m. February 1 **** Nancy's Nest doorbell camera was disconnected. Not glitched. Not powered down. Physically removed from its mount on the front porch. The Pima County Sheriff's Department confirmed the exact timestamp. This was not panic. This was not improvisation. This was someone who knew exactly where the camera was, exactly how to remove it, and exactly when to move. 2:12 a.m., 25 minutes later the system registered motion. The Nest camera's motion detection logged a figure approaching the home. But here is the problem. The system continuously overwrites its own footage. By the time investigators recovered the device, the video was already gone. Erased by design. The camera saw something and then deleted it. 2:28 a.m. This is the most precise forensic marker in the entire case. The app linked to Nancy Guthrie's pacemaker disconnected from her iPhone. According to authorities, this only happens when the patient is moved a significant distance away from the device. Her heart did not stop. The pacemaker still had years of battery life. The phone did not die. The signal did not fail. She was separated from it. Forcibly. Deliberately. That gives investigators a defined window. 41 minutes. From 1:47 a.m. when the camera was removed to 2:28 a.m. when her pacemaker signal disconnected. In that narrow span of time, Nancy Guthrie was taken. 2:36 a.m. 8 minutes after the pacemaker disconnected, a Ring camera from a private home roughly 2.5 miles away captured a vehicle speeding down a dark back road. The timing was exact. The distance fit. But the identity remains unknown. No license plate. No visible driver. Just a car moving fast. Too fast for coincidence. By February 10, FBI Director Kash Patel released partially recovered footage from the doorbell system. Fragmented but enough to see what mattered. An individual approaching the house. Dark clothing. Face mask. Gloves. A visible holster. Controlled, deliberate movement. And then one detail that shifted the forensic landscape entirely. In a single frame, the suspect was holding a flashlight in his mouth. The mask did not fully cover his lower face. Forensic expert April Stonehouse from Arizona State University noted the significance immediately. Saliva on the flashlight. Possible biological transfer onto surfaces inside the home while the mask was partially lowered. DNA the suspect may not have realized he left behind. That trace is now part of a complex DNA mixture collected from the scene. Multiple contributors. Layered. Difficult to isolate. Investigators are still working to separate it, refine it, make it usable. Because somewhere inside that mixture could be the one mistake the suspect could not erase. Then there was the backpack. A black 25-liter Ozark Trail hiking pack. A model sold exclusively through Walmart. Sheriff Nanos called it one of the most promising leads in the entire investigation. Because unlike DNA mixtures or partial footage, this is trackable. Purchases leave records. Receipts. Transactions. The FBI has been digging through regional Walmart sales data searching for the one purchase that points to a name. And the glove. On February 15, a black glove was discovered roughly 2 miles from Nancy's home. The FBI confirmed it closely matched the gloves worn by the suspect in the footage. DNA testing revealed genetic material belonging to an unknown male. No match in CODIS, the FBI's national database. Investigators escalated to genetic genealogy, the same technique that identified the Golden State Killer. But on March 4 that lead collapsed. The glove was traced to a local restaurant worker with no connection to the case. Another dead end. But the DNA inside the home remains unresolved. Now we arrive at the detail that has never been fully explained. The blue Honda CR-V belonging to Annie Guthrie and Tommaso Cioni was taken by law enforcement and examined under full supervision. But this was not a standard vehicle search. Investigators did not simply look inside and move on. They took it apart. Panel by panel. Every compartment opened. Every hidden space accessed. The undercarriage examined. The internal structure dismantled. Every inch inspected under law enforcement supervision. On February 16, Sheriff Nanos made one of the most definitive statements of the entire investigation. The Guthrie family, all siblings, all spouses, were officially cleared. He called them victims. He pushed back hard against public speculation, calling it cruel and unfounded. The family was cleared. That is the official record. That is not in question. But as of March 11, more than 6 weeks after the family was cleared, a Honda CR-V had still not been returned to Annie and Tommaso. Think about that for a moment. Standard vehicle searches do not involve removing panels. Standard searches do not involve taking a car apart piece by piece under law enforcement supervision. That level of examination suggests investigators believed something could have been concealed inside that vehicle. Something small enough to hide but critical enough to matter. And the results of that forensic examination have never been made public. The family is cleared. Sheriff Nanos was direct about that. But the silence surrounding what was or was not found inside that car remains one of the loudest unanswered questions in this entire case. In an investigation where every other forensic result has eventually surfaced in some form, this one has not. Why? On February 2, a ransom letter arrived at KOLD-TV, a CBS affiliate in Tucson. Within 48 hours, identical messages surfaced at TMZ and KGUN9. The demand was clear. $6 million in Bitcoin. Deadline February 9 at 5 p.m. The family responded publicly and strategically. On February 4, Savannah, Annie, and Cameron appeared together. We are ready to talk. Proof of life first. On February 5, Cameron stepped forward alone. We haven't heard anything. You need to reach out. On February 7, Savannah looked directly into the camera. This is very valuable to us and we will pay. The FBI advised every word. The deadline passed. No call. No message. No proof of life. Not a single direct communication from whoever sent those letters. And that silence forced investigators to ask a question they had been avoiding. Was the ransom demand ever real? Or was it something else entirely? A distraction. A misdirection. Designed to pull focus away from something closer. As of today, no suspect has been publicly named. Not one. Nancy Guthrie has not been found. Her condition is unknown. Her location is unknown. But her pacemaker is still transmitting. A specialized signal detection device mounted on a PCSD helicopter has been used to sweep the area, flying repeated passes searching for that signal. The manufacturer is cooperating directly with the FBI. The device is still out there somewhere. On March 23, Sheriff Nanos broke his silence, but only partially. Speaking to 13 News, he was direct. This is not a cold case. Investigators are actively working leads. They have strong evidence. They have developed a theory about why Nancy's home was specifically targeted. But that theory remains undisclosed. And when asked whether the suspect could strike again, his answer came without hesitation. One word. Absolutely. 81 days. No arrests. No named suspects. No confirmed location. Savannah Guthrie said she wakes up every night imagining what her mother faced. She said she will not hide her face. She said her mother needs to come home now. The reward stands at $1.1 million. The pacemaker is still transmitting. The DNA inside that home is still being processed. The Walmart backpack lead is still active. And that car, the one they dismantled piece by piece under law enforcement supervision, its forensic results have never been revealed to the public. Someone out there knows something. If you have any information, contact the FBI tip line at 1-800-CALL-FBI or the Pima County Sheriff's Department at 520-351-4900, and tell us in the comments. What do you think is inside those undisclosed forensic results? What do you think that car was hiding? Because in this case, the answers are still out there.